Good morning, everyone. So we move on to the next session. The next session is by Dr. Anita Basavraj. Uh, we all know her as a senior geriatrician. She is currently professor and head Department of Medicine at CSM Government Medical College Hospital in Satara in Maharashtra. And her topic is, it's a big topic, so I better read it. 5 aims of geriatric medicine: medications, mind, mobility, multi-complexity, and what matters most. So I hand over mic to.
Respected Dr. O.P. Sharma sir and all the senior members of the Central GSI, Dr. Sajesh and his organizing team, my senior colleagues, teachers, respected chairpersons, delegates, students, a very good morning. The topic of my presentation now is care of older adults, the 5M of geriatrics. And the geriatric 5M is a framework for caring for the older adults that focus on 5 main areas. Care of the older adults is evolving for the better. It was long back in 1965 that Bernard Isaac coined the term geriatric giants, that is the 4I: immobility, instability, incontinence, and impaired intelligence. Over a period of time, the 5th I, an important one, iatrogenesis, was added to it. Later on, the 7, frailty, cognitive impairment, delirium, urinary and fecal incontinence, dizziness, syncope, and depression became a group. More concerns were added to this 7, and then orthostatic hypotension was added to it. Over subsequent 50 years, modern geriatric giants, the big 4, frailty, sarcopenia, anorexia of aging, cognitive impairment, which causes falls, hip fractures, depression, and delirium, came to focus. And in 2017, the Canadian and the US specialist in geriatric medicine officially launched the 5 pillars of geriatric medicine, the geriatric 5M. This is a framework for caring for older adults that focuses on 5 main areas. So the basic objective which I want in this session is to understand the geriatric principles in primary care and to increase understandings of 5 M's of geriatrics, which is just repacking the common sense which we utilize in day to day to take care of so many of geriatric giants which have been identified over a period of time. So these geriatric 5Ms, which are the framework to improve care of older adults, is mobility, mind, medications, multi-complexity, and matters most. And all 5 together, when implemented, takes care of most of the issues of geriatric patients. It should be tailor-made for the institute or place where we are working so that we can do our best for the elderly adults. When it comes to mobility, we know that activities of daily living like the ADLs, eating, bathing, dressing, toileting, transferring, grooming, or the independent activities of daily living like grocery shopping, housework, telephone use, driving, finances, part a very important aspect of geriatric care. And as the person becomes older, he wants to continue to do this. But there can be unintentional fall, which can ultimately cause death or hamper his mobility. And therefore, the objective of this first M, that is mobility, is to differentiate between intrinsic and extrinsic risk factor and become familiar with the time up and go test. Do it in your clinic, OPD, or bedside, or wherever you come across an older adult and see that he doesn't fall, because that is the first thing which is going to hamper his mobility. So So it will be good to identify the intrinsic fall risk factors, which itself advanced age gives to this patient, any cardiovascular abnormalities, chronic conditions, cognitive impairment, functional limitations, gait and balance problems, medications, orthostatic hypotension, and vision problem. So if we form a framework in our OPD or our inpatient or wherever we are taking care of older people, most of this can be taken care of paramedics, and the more finer things can be given to a geriatrician or a neurologist or a geriatrician for that matter. Very important, another factors are extrinsic fall risk factors which need to be modified so that the older adults remain mobilized. The footwear or foot problems, the home hazards, improper use of assistive device, multifocal eyeglasses, new glass prescriptions, and substance abuse are important risk factors, extrinsic and modifiable. So they can be people who help the physician and geriatrician to identify this for the patient who comes to our OPD so that we substantially reduce his risk of falling and keep him mobile throughout his life. So we have heard of head to toe assessment in our general examination when we do the general examination and we teach the undergraduate. But when it comes to older adults who is coming to the OPD, it is good to have a toe to head approach so that he remains mobile and doesn't fall or sustain any immobility because of things which could have been modified. That is a very important thing to be addressed to these elders. So right from checking the socks, the shoes, the toenails, and another cause of immobility is the musculoskeletal weakness. So strengthening exercises, physiotherapy, bowel and bladder, assessing them and taking care of that issues, cardiovascular, medications, sensory, and cognition. So mobility advises us to take care of this thing so that patients, older adults have a better function in their day-to-day life. Let us understand about the time up and go test. We talk about it, and very important relevance is that if the time taken for this get up and go test is more, 8 seconds for that matter in age group of 60 to 69, 9 in 70 to 79 or more than 11, there are chances that if the patient is left unassisted, he will fall. There are cutoff values predictive of falls in the patients who are at a community dwelling or a frail old adult, but kindly do it. Teach your students, teach your assistant to do it so that out of 10 elderly whom you are tending to, if they are able to identify 1 or 2, we can focus more on them and falls can be prevented and their mobility can be maintained. So for this, a chair with a good armrest is needed. A person sits there and you have to explain to the patient once, twice, thrice, 4 times or as many times till the person understands so that he gets up, walks down to 3 meters, turns and come back and you start the stopwatch and calculate the time. So this physician assistant as a senior colleague suggested to us can do it for you so that you can find a way to treat or assist this patient so that he remains mobile as he grows more and more older. This is something, another thing which your assistant can help you do to help your patients mobile, the CDC home safety checklist. So if we can have the printout of the CDC home safety checklist in our OPD and hand it over to the patient relatives, it helps in prevention fall and it helps the mobility, which is the first and the most important M of the 5 M's. So we have to ask the patient, indoors or outdoors, stairs or steps, are there papers, shoes, books or other objects? We have to ask it specifically. Sometimes the things are lying there for so long that until you ask, the patient's relative or patient may not notice it. Are some steps broken or uneven? It is a good investment to mend them. Is there a light and a light switch at the top and the bottom of the stairs? Has the stairway light bulb burnt out? Is the carpet on the steps loose or torn? Are the handrails loose or broken? Is there a handrail or only one side of the stairs? When you walk through a room, do you have to walk through furniture? Do you have rugs on the floor? Are there paper, shoes, books on the floor? Or are there wires lying there on the floor? Or other things in the kitchen on the high shelves? So all this can be modified in your OPD and have to be modified so that the mobility remains rather than managing the complications after they have occurred. Is there a light near the bed, hard to reach? Is the path from your bed to the bathroom dark? Is the tub or shower floor slippery? Do you need some support when you get in and out? So it will be good thing to have this checklist in our OPD and hand it over to the older adults and take care of it before the patient goes home. So we always say in our facility that if a patient is reaching the hospital, at least check the blood pressure, hemoglobin and blood sugar. Similarly, if an elderly is reaching the hospital, we can do 5 M's for this patient so that lot of problems which the elderly face as they grow older can be prevented. The second big M is medications. So we have to, the main objective is to identify what the patient is experiencing polypharmacy, important prescription and review of the Beers criteria, which we just heard. So prescribing the patients is very important because adverse drug events is the 5th leading cause of death. So how many medicines the person is taking can help prevent the drug-drug interaction, the impaired cognition, the slower gait speed, disability, and the frailty. Planned or supervised process of deprescription is done by stopping the medicines which may cause harm or are no longer beneficial. So this is how we have heard in the previous session: reconcile all medication, consider risk benefits, assess eligibility, prioritize, implement and monitor. Kindly follow all the steps so that we are able to deprescribe. And these guidelines, the Beers criteria, medication appropriateness index, anticholinergic risk scale, is to be followed as far as medications are considered. We had a wonderful session on matters of mind. So mind, there is memory, mood, there are dementias, delirium and depression. And under the third M, we have to give lot of importance to the mind. And for that, we can apply the mini-cog as a screening tool for dementia and formulate the initial diagnostic evaluation for dementia. So another physician assistant out of 100 patients or out of 10 or 5 patients who are attending the geriatric OPD, if they do this work of application of mini-cog or a screening tool for dementia, out of those 15 or 20 patients, 1 or 2 may be identified, and you can focus your attention on this third M. So a simple thing which we can do is this, the mini-cog, in which 3 things are told to the patient. It is repeatedly told to the patient, ki I am telling you these 3 words, I am going to ask you again. After some time, you should be able to tell it back. In step 2, we tell the patient to draw a watch. And then we tell the patient to put the time of 10 past 11 or so. And in the step 3, we tell the patient to recall what we have told him. Depending upon how many things the patient is able to tell, we interpret this mini-cog test and we check the patient if he is having reversible dementia or non-reversible dementia, and we can concentrate on these patients by helping them identify the dementia warning signs. So if they are having trouble remembering, poor historian, appointment mix-up, can't follow instructions, getting lost, differs to family, has problems with self-care, unexplained weight loss, vague symptoms, this could be earliest sign of dementia. We should be able to catch them and help them treat it. Similarly, delirium can have acute change, inattention, disorganized thinking, or altered mental status it needs to be identified so that delirium, which is transient, is not there for a long time and that patient doesn't land up with more complications. We have to remember that dementia need not be there in all older adults. There can be preclinical mild cognitive impairment and later on sudden decline. So we cannot say that if the patient is forgetting something, it is because of aging. It need not be so. It could be an identifiable, treatable M, that is the mind, which has to be identified, evaluated, and managed either ourselves or with the help of neuropsychiatrists, specialty physicians, including neurologists, and we should not defer from doing a referral if we can help or treat that particular dementia, because medications for dementia are there and it can be treated. The fourth M is a multi-complexity. Many things are to be treated at the same time. Chronic conditions, social, biological, psychological. So we have to make a list, we have to prioritize, we have to discuss multifactorial nature of geriatric problems and decide the preferences. But we have to address them all, even though if they are challenging, and we have to communicate a plan to patient and the relative so that we can help the older adult. The last and the most important M is matters most. We are discussing something, relatives are discussing something, but the patient wants something. So it is the matter which most the patient wants that has to be addressed, including choosing a medical decision maker. So if in an older adult, there are three people who are coming with the patient himself has to identify one person who is going to make a decision for him so that there is no confusion. It may be regarding cardiopulmonary resuscitation, medical intervention, artificially administered nutrition. All information should be given to the patient with his due consent so that over a period of time, he knows how to choose a medical decision maker for him. So, in summary, these geriatric 5Ms focuses on care rather than identification of mobility, mind, medication, multi-complexity, and what matters most for the patient. Thank you very much. There are people who stay sharp at 70 and beyond. So it is not their genes. It is about the lifelong learning they have done so that they still remain sharp when they are 70. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Anita Basavaraj, for taking us through that very whirlwind tour of the 5Ms of geriatrics. The topic is open for discussions. I'd invite the distinguished audience to ask some questions to Professor Basavaraj. In the meantime, I have a question, madam, for you. You mentioned about this anorexia of aging. That is something that always puzzles me. That was one. And the second question from my end was about the last M, what matters most.
Yeah.
Now, that's a very contentious area because studies have revealed that what we physicians consider to be important for the patient is not quite the top one from the patient's perspective. And that's where there is a lot of learning for me as a doctor to understand that pain and anxiety is top of the list for a Parkinson's patients, whereas my intention is to minimize the tremors or the rigidity. So those are two questions for me. But in the meantime, I would invite the audience to
Thank you for those wonderful questions, sir. So that is what I was saying, it matters most. So patient wants to go for an early morning walk, but the relatives don't want him to give because they have this fear that they will fall. They will spend thousands on the money and the equipment, but maybe they should spend something on a person who will take that person to walk. So it matters to the patient that he wants to go out of the house and walk, but he is not. In hospital also, now because the patients are living for a longer time, thanks to the wonderful treatment that we are giving to our older adults, they are living for a longer time. So they will have cancers, they will have end of life disease. So we have to listen to the patient also.
Yeah.
So patient says, I do not want this chemotherapy. I cannot tolerate the chemo. After the chemo, so there is something called as half chemotherapy has come, half dose is given. Now the patient says, after this, everything is exfoliating right from my mouth to the GIT. So please, I don't want it. So that matters to him. The relatives, of course, they want the patient to live, they want him to be cured, but it does matter to the patient, we have to listen to him.
Yeah.
So these are the things which the form which I have shown you, the slide
Was
has
the
gone
last but
somewhere.
one.
I have lost the
Post
slide.
form.
But
Yeah.
that form which I showed, the pink colored form,
Yeah.
it will have small things. So sometimes the patient says, Ki, I do not want to be resuscitated when I have be. So we have to respect when he was in his better condition.
Yeah.
So it is the physician or the geriatrician, he has known the patient for a long time. Usually patients follow a single physician or a geriatrician. So they can say, there may be a wife, son, elder son, daughter who is making decision. Now he will say that this person has to take a decision for me. So we have to take into consideration what matters to the patient rather than what matters to us or for the relatives.
Absolutely.
So that is the concept behind the 5 M's. We have identified the giants,
Yeah.
but we should now come on the patient's perspective and try to find out what matters to him.
Thank you very much. It's
Thank
a
you
wonderful
very much.
talk.
Thank
Big
you very
hand
much for a
for
patient
Professor
hearing.
Basavaraj. Thank you very much.